kid from the bush who grew into a legend in his own lunchtime, former SAS soldier Michael J. Malone has seen it all. This is Never Die Wondering, Mick Malone in his own words, hosted by the man himself, Mick Malone, along with Toby Malone, as they examine this long, storied career in the Australian Special Forces. Join us each week for behind-the-scenes insight, exclusive readings, and brutally honest truths from a true original. Welcome to Never Die Wondering. Welcome to the first episode of Never Die Wondering, Mick Malone in his own words, a podcast that explores the life and legend of Michael John Malone, OAM. My name is Toby Malone, Mick's son and co-host of this podcast series, joined by the man whose name is in the title, Mick Malone. G'day, Dad.
G'day, mate. Love you.
I love you too. It's good to see you. So this has been a bit of a battle to get you on to start this project. I've had this idea for a little while. So the idea here is that I thought that people would be interested to hear what you had to say about your life and career based around some of your books. But how are you feeling about all of this?
Not bad. I'd rather not do it, but it's difficult being a legend, you know.
So you keep telling me. So the idea here is that we wanted to put together this podcast. Many people who are listening will know you from your military career. Many will know from your book publishing career. And you've done a lot of things over the last 50 odd years, or 60 odd years in the world. And so there are people who are interested in hearing about it. So I thought it'd be a good chance to sit down and have a yarn, to talk about what you've done, about the books that you've published, and to go through them. But podcasts seem to be something that you're not really a full bottle on. Do you feel as though have you got much of a background with podcasts? Have you listened to much or been involved at all?
Zero.
No, that's not true. You've been on a few episodes of different things.
Oh, yeah, I've done a few interviews and stuff, but that's it. One of my interviews has had 30,000 views.
Yeah. Well,
unbelievable.
Yeah, so there's a video that's on YouTube right now, which was taken from a previous interview done almost 20 years ago, I think, where I think it was a mob from the University of New South Wales interviewed you about your military career. Is that right? It was something along those lines, and they sat you down and asked you a bunch of questions, and it was maybe a 2-hour interview or something or longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Really.
Some YouTube page put that up on their YouTube and repackaged it, and as you said, 30,000 views, which is exactly the reason why Never Die Wondering exists right now, because I thought, well, people are interested in hearing what you have to say, and so I thought, why not get involved? And then last year, you appeared on a previous podcast that I had. I had a Finnegan's Wake podcast that you appeared on briefly. How was that for you?
Oh, man, I'll never forget it.
So what tell us about that process?
Well, I was looking forward to trying to say one of the thunder words.
Ah, right. We didn't get a chance to do that. So yeah, so this was the podcast I had was called Cold Reading Finnegan's Wake, which was about just reading through James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, and you were the one that got me onto Joyce. So I thought it only fitting that you would appear on that podcast. So you did that, and you've done a few different interview things and bits and pieces, and you don't really listen to podcasts yourself too often.
No.
Although I remember getting you onto Dan Carlin's Hardcore History for a little bit there.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, it's a good medium because you can tell a story. It's in people's ears while they're on their way to work or whatever. It's not necessarily video based. It can be now. It's a lot more videos, but the idea behind it is that we can just tell some stories and get some record some stuff. And so I just thought that this was would be a good way for us to have a yarn, to talk about what you've done, but also to go through your books. And just to read some sections from the books and give a little bit of background context about what's happened elsewhere in your career. So, not everything went into the books. So some things um, were edited for content or whatever reason.
I could put it all in, but I'd get locked up.
Well, that's true, and we're not trying to get you into trouble here. I don't want you to have to feel as though you have to repeat litigious stories or anything like that. But it's more just giving a little bit of additional context to anyone who's already read the book. So we've I've mentioned the book a few times, and we'll mention it many more times. Two Ranks on the Road: 35 Years of Australian Special Forces Services was published by Imprimatur Books in 2024, April of 2024, and it has been going gangbusters ever since. Holding up the book there to the screen. And in terms of publishing, how did you get into publishing? So, what else have you? What was your first foray into writing?
Well, I was a volunteer in the SAS Association um, to do the monthly journal called Rendezvous,
Right.
and which when I took it over, it was a sheaf of papers stapled in the corner, and I thought we can do better than that. So we produced this glossy, and it was a great hit. Everyone loved it, and we kept that going for about 12 years. And I handed it over to the next bloke who hasn't basically stuck with it. The biggest thrill I had was listing every man that ever served in SAS who died
Hmm.
in the back of the journal, and alphabetically. And I just noticed the last edition of this journal, that list is not in the thing anymore. And I thought, rang them up and said, "What's going on? You
Mm.
got to keep it in there, otherwise the memories are lost." Oh, we haven't had time, we
Right.
had to get it out on this date. So anyway, that was that. And while I was there, I did I did a thing called the 40th anniversary of
Hmm.
SAS pictorial history,
Yeah.
and we did that in hardback. We did it in leather bound and all sorts of stuff. And my favourite memory of that is we did 150 copies of leather, and Mooker Stanton, ex OC of the Signal Squadron, come up and said, "I want number 152." And I said, "Well, there's not 152. He said, "Yeah, but I'm 152 Signal Squadron." Oh, so I rang up the printers and said, "Do two more."
So
We
you got
did two more.
152 of 152. So that was
He
1997.
was pretty happy. But
19,
they sell for about $1,800 now, those leather bounds,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you can ever find one.
And so
And
that
then,
was so that was 1997. You put together the pictorial history, which was the images from way back before it was
yeah,
even a regiment, uh,
yeah,
all the way through all the conflicts, right up until the 40th
yeah,
anniversary.
both Borneo and Vietnam.
And that was the volume that some blokes referred to as Mick Malone and his mates. Because you look in the
Yeah,
index of that thing, and then there's
my,
everyone.
my, my mates are also cruel. But at the end of the day, it was a good project, and we sold out. We did a hardback, then we did a paperback. Sold out 1,500 copies of both, and that was that. And I
Yeah,
moved on and started a book business called Imprimatur Books
yeah,
with my beloved wife, and we did that for 35 years. And then uh, I started on Hail Mary, the Creek's Up, which is
well,
my child.
before that, before Hail Mary, we'll get to Hail Mary, but you wrote Simo.
Oh, Simo, yeah, yeah.
So tell us a bit.
Ray Simpson, BC, VCDCM, was my hero in Vietnam. I met him there, met him in Vietnam in 1969, just after he'd been awarded the VC. And he was a wild man. My God, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, old Simo, Pete Lutley and I sat down and put the Simo thing together, and we toured all over the place, speaking to all the old training team blokes, Mike Wells and all these dudes, and really put together a well accepted book, and which still sells today.
Mm-hmm.
I've sold out of them actually. I've got a box of hardbacks there, which I'll put under the bed for future future use.
And with most of these books, excepting the pictorial history, because that's mostly scarce now, but for all of the books we talk about on the podcast, I'm going to link to them in the show notes. So if anyone's interested in getting a copy of Semo or Two Ranks on the Road, or any of these books, the books that have been published, there are some that we'll talk about that have not yet been published. Don't ask for those yet, but we'll link to these so that you can, if you're interested in getting a copy of the biography of Ray Simpson, for example, you can get that through Imprimata Books,
Yeah,
and through the website, which we'll be linking to in the show notes. So you mentioned that during the pandemic, you started work on a memoir of your childhood. It was just sort of scattered memories of different things, different people, which you ended up titling "Hail Mary, the Creek's Up." Um, so can you tell us a little bit about starting that?
yeah. Well, the title comes from my father's mother, my grandmother, old Annie Malone, who had a couple of cows, and she used to milk every day. And she said it had 7 kids, and said to the kids, "Come on, we'll go up and get the cows from the common." And they said, "Oh," so they all trooped up there. And the common was basically a few acres beside the Catholic Church that everyone used to graze their cows. Anyway, get up there and there's the creek running through. It's running a banker. It's flooded. And she said, "You kids go home and say a few Hail Marys because the creek's up." So they went home and sat on the kitchen floor holding hands saying, "Hail Mary, the creek's up. Hail Mary, the creek's up." And
And
just loved that story. Dad used to tell.
yeah. And so you wrote, so you started writing down stories just as a pandemic project because you were
Yeah,
stuck
yeah.
inside. And so you got all this together and you showed it to me and you said, "What do you reckon? Is this a thing? Is this something we could do something with?" And at the time it was out of order and it was all sorts of, it was a lot of repetition. And I said, "Yeah, it's great. And I love that we've got the stories, but what about your military career? People want to read about that." And you said, nah, no one cares about that." Um,
It was such a pressured.
so
I was pressured by my firstborn.
Well, I like to think that I am encouraging more than pressuring, and I feel very strongly about the fact that these stories, once if they're not written down, then we'll lose them. And so the chance to get you while you're here, to write these things down, which is also why we're doing the podcast, so that we can do this while you're still compos mentis, um, to
Well, you missed a boat on that one, mate.
uh, um, and so I asked you to start writing down, and you said, "All right." And so you started writing down stories in the military, thinking no one would really care, and it ended up becoming Two Ranks on the Road, 35 years of Australian Special Forces services, which is has was published in 2024. Can yeah, that was a big hit.
It is. It has been. We sold 1,200 copies, and it's continues to sell. Bravo, 964, which is the SAS Association, SAS historical mob,
Yeah.
just picked up 100 copies off me the other day, and they'll go through those fairly quickly. because they've got a worldwide audience. They sell stuff all around the world, and they're all signed copies. The latest lot have got a bookmark in them, which a friend of mine's just done.
Who was the bloke who did the bookmark?
Julian Whittaker,
Oh, good for you, Julian.
Perth bloke. And
Hmm.
I
And
thought
he's
I had.
That's all right. That's all right. So yeah, and so it comes with,
Yeah,
these special bookmarks with images of your life and career on there. That's great. Just holding up to the screen right now. This is mostly an audio medium, so most blokes won't get it.
yeah.
Um, but
So
then
each
yeah,
copy's got a bookmark in it and it's signed.
and so that book takes us from age 19 up until 2024, essentially, past the pandemic and all that kind of stuff, and talking about your entire career going through. And we're going to spend some time in this podcast over the next few months reading through Two Ranks in the Road. I will say that in August of 2025, just this month, we just published the ebook version of Two Ranks in the Road. So if anyone's interested in reading on their Kindle or their Kobo or whatever kind of ebook reader you have, you can get that from places like Booktopia or Amazon. Pretty much anywhere you find ebooks, and you can get that for a fairly competitive price. So if you haven't got a physical copy of Two Ranks, and you're hoping to read the book, you can also find that on your ebook retailers. There will not be, as far as I know, an audiobook version of Two Ranks. We talked about it briefly, and then you said, "Oh, if there's going to be an audiobook, that I should read it," and I said, "No, I don't want it. I don't want that additional."
I rang
Um,
Brad Pitt and he told me no.
no, that's for the movie version. We'll sell the movie rights.
Oh, the
Uh,
movie.
yeah. So, but then I thought, well, this podcast feels like a good way of reading through it, and so the idea would be is that we'll over the next few months, what we'll do is we'll read through Two Ranks on the Road, um, and you can comment as we go and to give me sort of feedback or to give different kinds of things. Maybe there'll be comments some weeks, maybe there won't. Um, and then and that will sort of stand in as the ebook, as the sorry, the audiobook version of the book, so you can read along. So if you have a copy of Two Ranks to hand, make sure you have it there, and you can read along with us and get that additional insight. And then you've got some other book projects that you're working on right now. So you have a new biography that is in progress.
Yeah, Peter Badco, VC, which was just about finished. He was killed in action in Vietnam in 1967, aged 33 years old. He was, it's called Crazy Brave,
Mhm.
the title of this book. He was crazy. He used to carry four guns. He carried a pistol, a submachine gun, uh, a 40 millimeter grenade launcher, and a rifle. Oh, it's got me beat. And he looked like a little Clark, his glasses and his chumpy body.
Well, he used to wear a red beret in
And
the
he used to wear
field.
a red beret in the bush so he's meant to see where he was. But boss, the enemy can see you too, Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. He was unconcerned about any of that stuff.
Yeah. So that's
He was
a
he was
amazing
fearless.
story. Yeah. And so he
So
won the
anyway,
Victoria Cross. Yeah.
we'll get that out this year, hopefully. Once we speak to Mrs. Badco, who's now Mrs. Someone else,
Right.
I want to know why she's left him in the ground in Tarenda Garrison Cemetery
Mm.
when all the rest of them were brought home. She said, "Oh no, leave him there." I thought, what?
Well,
What's that all about?
yeah,
So
interesting.
anyway, we've
Families
got
have
to
very
find.
different dynamics. So there's that. So that's coming up too. And then you had another one called Wild Men of the SAS, which you mentioned in an interview on the ABC, and then suddenly people started calling for to buy copies of this book that doesn't exist.
Oh, mate, mad bastards. I have known I was going to call it, but I thought no, it wouldn't be any good.
Oh, people would buy it. So
Uh,
lots of things, and then Hail Mary, the Creek's Up. We're just finalizing the version of that, and so that will be out hopefully in late
Hopefully, we'll get that out
2025.
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lots of different things, and so there's plenty of things going on. Um, So this introductory episode is basically just to give us some context. The next episode we'll move on and we'll just sort of give you a little bit more context about two ranks, and then we'll get into it. So that is it for this week's episode. But I just wanted to give everyone a bit of context about what we're trying to do. And if anyone has any feedback or any ideas about the podcast, please let us know. Our information is in the show notes. So, what do you reckon, Dad? This isn't as bad as you thought, right?
No, no, that's all right.
It's good to sit and have a yarn. You can do
You're
that.
being very kind.
So that is all the time we have this week for Never Die Wondering. Join us next week for the next installment of our exploration of Mick Malone's career as we get started talking about his acclaimed memoir of a career in the military, Two Ranks on the Road. I've been Toby Malone, and thank you to Mick Malone for reluctantly joining me on this journey. Never
Lovely
die
talking to you,
wondering.
mate. Lovely talking to you.
You too. Never die wondering.
Yeah, see you.
This has been Never Die Wondering, Mick Malone in his own words. For links to purchase your own copies of Mick's books, visit the show notes or mickmalone.com.au. This podcast is produced by Toby Malone, Joe Malone and Mick Malone, and engineered by Toby Malone. Theme music is The Happy Wanderer, the official SAS march, as reimagined by Cormac Malone and Meg Logue Malone. Yes, this is a family affair. This is a GM production in association with Imprimatur Books.